Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you. I am Manat Sharma from Olive Board and I'm here with the live mint analysis that we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. So, what do is we bring in some important articles from the newspaper and we try to connect it with the static portion. We try to do a few MCQs and we try and understand it in detail. वो हमारा एजेंडा रहता है which is important for all your regulatory body examinations. Fine. Before I begin, if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, you can do it from the Olive Board app. Just go to the courses section. There's going to be a separate folder of YouTube class PDFs. You can download the PDF from here. And also let us see what are we going to cover today. A very good morning to you, Anurag, Bhakti. ठीक है, हम देख लेते हैं कि व्हाट आर वी गोइंग टू कवर इन टुडेज सेशन. काफी ज्यादा आर्टिकल सेबी से आए हैं. ठीक है, सेबी से रिलेटेड आए हैं, तो उनको हम देख लेते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल द फर्स्ट आर्टिकल, सेबी अनवील्स रिफॉर्म्स टू गैल्वनाइज कैपिटल मार्केट्स. तो कैपिटल मार्केट्स के लिए कुछ रिफॉर्म्स लाने की बात हुई है. क्या है वो रिफॉर्म्स, उसकी बात करेंगे. सेकेंडली, शेयर होल्डर राइट्स आउटवे प्रमोटर प्रिवेसी. तो यहाँ पे भी सेबी के वाया ये एक क्या कह सकते हैं, न्यूज या फिर एक कह सकते हैं रेगुलेशन आई थी कि जो शेयर होल्डर के राइट्स हैं वो ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट हैं दैन प्रमोटर प्रिवेसी, और इसीलिए जो प्रमोटर्स होते हैं या फिर जो कंपनीज हैं उनको अपना डिस्क्लोज करना ही पड़ेगा. जो जो भी कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन है, दे हैव टू डिस्क्लोज टू मे टू टू इंश्योर दैट देयर इज ट्रांसपेरेंसी. तो क्या है, किस केस की हम बात कर रहे हैं, वो हम डिटेल में कवर करेंगे. देन सेंटर में रिलैक्स इंपोर्ट रूल्स फॉर ई बसेस एंड ट्रक्स. तो इंपोर्ट रूल्स जो है ई बसेस और ई ट्रक्स के लिए वो सेंटर रिलैक्स करेगा, तो वो देख लेंगे कि हम क्या है. अच्छा, फिर से सेबी से रिलेटेड एक और है, वीकली ऑप्शंस में गो एज सेबी बिगिंस कंसल्टेशन. तो जो आपके वीकली ऑप्शंस हैं, यानी कि जो ऑप्शंस को हम जो वीकली बेसिस पे एक्सपायर हो जाते हैं, उनकी बात कर रहे हैं. ऑप्शंस आर पार्ट ऑफ योर डेरिवेटिव्स. तो डेरिवेटिव समझेंगे क्या है ना. और उसमें एक पार्ट होता है ऑप्शंस. तो इसमें जो वीकली ऑप्शंस हैं वो हो सकता है कि एक्सपायर हो जाए. अब हम वीकली ऑप्शंस के हिसाब से नहीं जाएंगे. ठीक है, वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू go with the weekly options. Why? Because the investors, they were having a lot of loss. Investors, they were having lots of losses, because of which these weekly options they may go, and SEBI might, SEBI is bringing in a consultation for this. Okay, so Sudarshan, okay, all right, I got it. Wider scope under Companies Act notified for fast track merger. So now we have this Competition Commission of India. They have brought in some new rules, you can say, for mergers. We're going to understand what mergers are, and we're going to understand this news as well. Apart from that, there are a few more fact based news which we are going to cover, and then we are going to solve a few MCQs so that whatever we have studied, you are able to recall or not, to check it out. Fine. चलिए, now let's move on to the first article. SEBI unveils sweeping capital market revamp. यानी कि SEBI unveils sweeping reforms to galvanize capital markets. We are talking about reforms in the capital market. This is very, very important because this is a very major part of almost all regulatory body examinations, right? Capital market, so you need to know. It is basic. Even for UPSC and all, this is basic, right? So, uh, now they are bringing in reforms in the capital market. What is the objective of bringing in reforms? So that we can boost fundraising, we can ease the listing norms, enhance governance, strengthen investor protection. ये कुछ reasons हैं why हम capital market में reforms लेकर आ रहे हैं. There are some listing norms that have been brought over here. For example, if companies have their market capitalization, अगर companies का 150,000 crore to 1 trillion है, if the market capitalization of companies is between 1,50,000 crore to 1 trillion, then the minimum issue size is going to be 1,000 crore or 5%. Remember this, ठीक है? Learn this, remember this. Direct MCQ can be asked. ठीक है, so companies with 1,50,000 crore to 1 trillion market cap, minimum issue size 1,000 crore or 5%. Timeline has been extended to 5 years to reach 25% of minimum public shareholding. ठीक है, तो they have extended this timeline to 5 years कि 5 years के अंदर अंदर 25% minimum public shareholding can be there. ठीक है, आप within 5 years तक you can list your public shares up to 25%. ठीक है, for companies who have market capitalization of more than 1 trillion, minimum public float is 2500 crore or 2.5%. You have to learn and remember this as well. ठीक है, okay. If I talk about the governance related norms, then thresholds for related party transactions have been tightened. जो related party transactions होती हैं, that means जो third party आप कह सकते हैं, मतलब कि directly which are not involved with the company's members or the company's owners and all, those are related party transactions. उनके साथ जो norms हैं, they have been tightened. Large firms must obtain shareholder approvals for related party deals. These are the norms. Apart from that, for mutual funds, now these mutual funds, they're allowed to invest in real estate investment trusts, InvITs, equity schemes and debt. तो mutual funds इसमें भी अब invest कर सकते हैं. Fine, not just on individual shareholding, but on these these REITs or InvITs, equity schemes in sub पे भी. Fine. Then, if we talk about research analysts and investment advisors, now for them they have simplified the registration. So registration has been simplified for the research analysts, for the investment advisors. Okay, qualification norms have also been relaxed. Now they can share verified performance data and also give second opinions. ये पहले नहीं था. Now they have allowed this also. For investor participation, broader anchor investor framework. They have talked about broader anchor investor framework. Portion reserved for domestic mutual funds has increased. ठीक है, retail investors can now bid as low as 5,000 rupees. ठीक है, तो as low as 5,000 rupees आप bid कर सकते हैं. Retail investors can bid. ठीक है, तो ये तो था firstly that we brought in some reforms in the capital market. ठीक है, here you need to understand that what is the difference between capital market and money market. What is the difference between the two? Can anyone tell me that what is the difference between capital market and money market? Write down in the comment section and tell me. Under your capital market, there is this primary market and there is this secondary market, right? All these are what? Types of financial markets, है ना? All these are types of financial markets. Financial markets are classified into capital market and money market. Capital market is further divided into primary market and secondary market, right? Now my question to all of you is, what is the difference between capital market and money market? Write down in the comment section. Till then we are going to move forward and I'll see what you guys are writing. Fine, चलिए. नेक्स्ट जो आपकी इम्पोर्टेंट न्यूज़ है विच इज़ रिलेटेड टू शेयर होल्डर राइट्स आउटवे प्रमोटर प्रिवेसी. ऐसा किसने कहा? सेबी टू हाई कोर्ट. ठीक है, Bhakti says capital deals in long term funds, money market is for short term. Exactly, Sudarshan. Fine. So, when we talk about the capital market, we are talking about long term funds. Long term funds which are logged in for a minimum period of time. When I talk about the money market is for short term funds up to 1 year. Okay? Up to 1 year. Fine. Capital market is further divided into primary market and secondary market. Primary market is for new issue of shares when for the first time you're listing yourself in the public. New issue of shares. First time you're listing in the public, that is what is part of your primary market. Secondary market is old issue जो already that have been issued, the shares which have already been floated in the market, they are going to be exchanged between the investors are going to buy and sell. People like us are going to buy and sell those shares. For example, I am buying shares of a Tata Steel company. That is part of your secondary market. Fine. Anurag says capital for long term and money market overnight. It can Anurag, it can be overnight or up to 1 year. ठीक है अनुराग. So money market is up to 1 year also. For example, we have the treasury bills, right? We have treasury bills of three types: 91 day, 182 day and 364 days. So up to 1 year. Also overnight also up to 1 year also. Okay अनुराग. Money deals in short term funds, right? Absolutely correct, Bhakti. ठीक है. So now let's look at this article, what this article is saying. Now this case is SEBI versus Kirloskar case, okay, which is shareholder rights versus promoter privacy. Now what did SEBI say? SEBI told Bombay High Court that shareholders' right to information outweighs promoters' claims of privacy. So what do promoters say? That we have to maintain our privacy, and that is why we are not going to disclose a lot of our information. But what did SEBI say? कि नहीं भाई, you have to disclose your information because the investors' interest, those investors or the shareholders of your company, their interest is more important than your privacy concerns. Okay? This is what is the news about. Investors have to be informed of any pact which is affecting a listed company's management, control, or business. Okay, so if you are entering into any kind of pact, if you're entering into any kind of pact with any other company, which is leading to a change in the management, control, or business, it is affecting the business in any manner, that kind of information has to be given to the investors. You cannot hide that kind of information by citing that, this is your privacy concern. No, you cannot do that because investors interest is more important than the promoter's privacy. Okay, this is what this news is about. Fine. So basically, there is this regulatory clarification that disclosure doesn't bind listed companies to contractual obligations, but that is for ensuring transparency. So it is not going to hinder your privacy, but it is going to ensure transparency, which is a very important factor which SEBI has to ensure. Okay, so you don't have to create private obligations between parties. You have to focus on disclosure of the existence of such agreements. You can't hide those kind of agreements. You have to, disclose these important agreements. It is very, very important for you. Fine. 2023 SEBI listing obligations and disclosure requirement amendments aimed at filling this gap. 2023 May, we brought in some obligations. SEBI brought in some changes which tried to address this problem, this gap. Okay. Now, what is this Kirloskar case basically? Kirloskar firms, they had challenged SEBI's rule as arbitrary and overreaching. So 2023 May, what happened was that SEBI brought in these rules that shareholders' interest is more important than promoter privacy to ensure transparency. Okay? So these rules were notified in 2023. So Kirloskar firms, they challenged in the High Court. They challenged SEBI in the High Court. Okay, like and said that this kind of a rule is arbitrary and overreaching. Okay, and this issue relates to 2009 deed of family settlement among Kirloskar firms. So this is dating back to 2000 deed. Okay, 2023 maybe what is the decision, but this dates back to 2009. Okay, in December 2024, SEBI asked firms to disclose the family deed also. So if you are getting into you have any kind of family deed, that also has to be disclosed, and that is why these Kirloskar firms are saying that, uh, uh, you know, uh, uh, this is overreaching, this is arbitrary, and these are private details which we do not want to share. Okay, but SEBI says that investor protection and transparency must prevail over the privacy concerns. Okay. I'm going to give one example for this list. Disclosure in the sense, for example, we have the owners. For example, take the example of these Kirloskar firms. Say they are entering into a deed with some other company privately, है ना? Which is leading to a change in the management of the company. So they got into an agreement with some other party without informing the shareholders, without telling shareholders anything. So Kirloskar firms, say firm A is entering into an agreement with firm B related to the management, that they might change the management. Okay, that the management, the people who are part of the management, they might be changed, but the shareholders have no idea about it. ठीक है, the shareholders have no idea about it, है ना? But this kind of information has to be disclosed. This is what is the example of this. Okay, Sudarshan. Okay, excuse me. Fine. Chalo. Now, next important news we have is center may relax import rules for e-buses or trucks. Just a second. Okay, center may relax import rules for e-buses and trucks. यहाँ पे we have this news over here. ठीक है? So what is the update? Government may temporarily allow the import of electric truck and bus motors which are fitted with rare earth magnets without losing incentives under 10,900 crore PM e-drive scheme. Again, this PM e-drive scheme is in news. Okay, again, this PM e-drive scheme is in news, and this is very very important. Please do this scheme in detail. See about the details of this scheme. Okay, and because there might be a question in your examination related to this. Okay, because this has been in news on an everyday basis. In almost every live mint analysis, we have discussed about the scheme. Now, what is this news? कि जो भी e-vehicles हैं like electric truck and bus motors which have rare earth magnets, ठीक है, which have rare earth magnets, we are going to temporarily allow them to import. Okay, we are going to allow them to import these electric truck and bus under this 10,900 crore PME drive scheme. Okay, and this exemption is not extended to two wheelers or three wheelers. This is only for other trucks and buses. We can import them. Fine. Now, reason is ongoing supply crunch due to reduced rare earth material exports from China. See, what is happening is these rare earth metals are very, very important. These rare earth magnets are very, very important for the electric revolution. We want to change into EVs and all. वहाँ पे like rare earth metals are very important. Now these rare earth metals have been restricted. Their exports have been restricted by China. 91% of the exports or 91% dominance is with China for these rare earth magnets. And China has restricted its exports. This is a problem that we were facing. So what did we focus on? We said we are not going to import only, we are going to focus on domestic manufacturing. But this domestic manufacturing is going to take time, obviously. है ना? And now we are facing the supply crunch, and our PM e-drive scheme is also not moving forward. We are not seeing a good amount of updates related to this. We are not, seeing a good uptick through this PM e-drive scheme, and that is why government, what is it doing? It is temporarily allowing those EVs or those electric trucks and buses जहाँ पे rare earth magnets are fitted. Fine. What is the aim? So that we can support the domestic EV industry until production stabilizes, because right now our production is not good enough. Our domestic manufacturing right now is not good enough. So until and unless this production stabilizes, we are going to support this EV industry, this domestic EV industry. We're going to allow some of the imports for a short period of time so that we can manage that gap as of now. Okay. So relaxation. Now you have to remember that this relaxation is only for the larger EVs, the buses and trucks. It is not for small two wheelers or three wheelers. Okay? Because why? Because these larger EVs, they have components like batteries, traction motors, electronics which face greater dependency on imports. So जहाँ पे the import dependency is more, वहाँ पे we are going to import. ठीक है? Alternatives like ferrite based motors may work for smaller EVs. So smaller EVs के लिए we are using some alternatives like ferrite based motors. But for large vehicles, these are not efficient. We need to have these rare earth magnets and all, है ना? तो that is why for them import has been allowed. ठीक है, which funding will be used? This PM e-drive वाली funding will only be used. In previous class only we saw that this funding has not been utilized properly. है ना? Why? Because scrapping was a compulsory document that had to be shown कि you have at least scrapped one fossil fuel truck. है ना? One fossil fuel truck of the same size, only then you can avail an e-truck through this scheme. है ना, यही देखा था. We saw this in the previous news. What was the news? That under this PM e-drive scheme, if you want to avail, if you want to buy an e-truck, you have to show a certificate of scrapping of a fossil fuel truck. because of which this fund was not being utilized properly, and there was a problem in the uptick of this, right? So now they are saying they are under the scheme only they are allowing this import now, ताकि scheme का this fund can also be used. Fine. Zero emission buses and trucks eligible for incentives until March 2028. Fine. If we talk about the geopolitical angle, there are tensions between India and China, which have obviously affected the rare earth trade. And India's move aligns with Atmanirbhar Bharat. We want to become self reliant. And until and unless we are not able to stabilize our domestic capacity, we'll allow the import. Fine. Acha, now I have a question from all of you. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of rare earth magnets? Are these magnets or are these metals actually rare? Are these actually rare? For those of you who are continuously attending my live mint analysis, we've discussed about this many times, right? But somebody who's new here, we need to understand what these rare earth magnets are. Can anyone tell me in the comment section? Good morning, Ankit. Can anyone tell me in the comment section what do you mean by rare earth magnets, or what is the meaning of rare earth metals? Because whenever you understand a news, whenever you read a news, it is very important you understand the basics of it as well. And it's very important that you understand the meaning of the terms involved as well, है ना? So here we are talking about rare earth magnets. So Rahul says maybe rare earth magnets extracting and processing is rare. No, absolutely wrong. ठीक है, absolutely wrong. See, Rahul, extraction and processing is magnets which are difficult to extract. Acha, you are also saying extracting and processing is rare. It is not rare, Rahul. The extraction is very difficult. Now, these are not actually rare in the economy, they are not rare in the world, they are abundantly present. ये बहुत ज़्यादा abundant है, they are present in large quantities, but their extraction is very very difficult, very very difficult extraction. ठीक है, because they are found in groups. ठीक है, they are found in groups. These are found, binded together. Different magnets are binded together, and because of which the extraction is very difficult. ठीक है, 91% of the extraction dominance is with China. ठीक है, so that is one problem. China is the most dominant, and that is why everybody is dependent on China for this. ठीक है, the magnets which are present abundantly but their extraction is very very difficult. That is what is the meaning of rare earth magnets. ठीक है. Next news is related to weekly options may go as SEBI begins consultations. So here we are talking about what? We are talking about derivatives over here. ठीक है, can anyone tell me what is the meaning of derivatives? What are derivatives? You study it in your classes, है ना? You study the types of derivatives like futures and options, है ना? Futures and options. What are derivatives? Ankit was saying it is crucial for advanced technologies and solar energy. Rare earth are difficult to mine. Yes, exactly, Ankit. ठीक है, तो rare earth metals, they are difficult to mine, and their extraction is very difficult, and they are very important for advanced technologies, right? Chalo. So my question right now is, what do you mean by derivatives over here? Because this news is related to these derivatives. Ha, so Darshan, this is a financial contract. But what is the meaning of a derivative? What is the meaning of a derivative? So this news is basically that these options which expire on a weekly basis, the options which expire on a weekly basis, we are going to let them go. Now we are not going to continue with this weekly. It is either going to be fortnightly or monthly. This is the news. Okay. When we talk about derivatives, financial contract where value is derived from an underlying asset. Very good, Bhakti. Okay. So derivatives mein what happens is, let's take the example of a gold derivative. Okay, let's take the example of a gold derivative. It's like a financial instrument. Say this is a page where it has been written that this is a gold derivative. What does it mean? That this is just a piece of paper, but the value of this paper is derived from the value of gold. So whatever value of gold is going to be at that point of time, 1,90,000, 95,000, the value of this derivative will also be the same. That is what is the meaning of derivative. Derivatives used for hedging and speculation. Yes, Anurag. Derivatives are contracts which derive their value from underlying asset. Yes, Ankit. Okay. So they derive their value. For example, gold derivative, it is deriving its value from gold, the value of gold. So whatever is the value of gold as of now, that that is going to be the value of this derivative. Now these derivatives are of many types, like futures and options. Here we are talking about these options. You might have heard about call option, put option, and we're not going to go into that much detail, but you have to revise this from your finance portion. Okay. So call and put options. Now what happens is, when it's like, when you're kind of betting it, when you're betting है ना, तो call put पे, either below the value or above the value, कि ऊपर जाएगा या नीचे जाएगा, that way you bet it, and that expires within a particular time. So we see it, say after a week we see कि अच्छा what is the value. अगर ऊपर चले गया you win, है ना, नीचे चला गया तो you lose. It happens like that. It's like a betting. Fine, it is kind of betting, only not exactly betting. A lot of skill is required over here, but just to understand, you can think of it like, sattebazi or betting, है ना? So now those options which expire on a weekly basis, we are not going to continue with them. That is what SEBI is saying. Okay, and it may phase out. Abhi it is not finalized, but it may phase out these weekly option contracts. Why? Because the retail traders were incurring huge losses. रिटेल जो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं, दे अकाउंटेड फॉर 91% ऑफ इक्विटी FNO turnover in July 2025. You can see over here also it is written that SEBI's July findings showed 91% of equity derivative traders, they posted losses in 6 months ending May. ठीक है. And what is the possible proposal? That we might shift from weekly to fortnightly or monthly index options, which is going to be a better format. ठीक है, वीकली बहुत जल्दी हो जाता है, and a lot of loss these retail traders were incurring. ठीक है, and this will apply to both Nifty and Sensex options, and decision is still pending SEBI's board meeting. So let's see what is going to be the news. Let's see what is going to actually happen. ठीक है, SEBI is concerned about retail investors high losses majorly. This is the problem. ठीक है, financial year 25 saw net retail losses of 1.05 lakh crore in derivatives. Number of traders rose to 9.6 million. Average per person loss of 1.1 lakh rupees, you can say. ठीक है? And if we talk about the market data, NSE dominates with 94.3% share in market turnover. Bombay Stock Exchange share is approximately 5.7%. Volume growth is seen in 2025. ठीक है, since October 2024 SEBI curbed index options promotions. ठीक है, October 2024 में what did SEBI do? It curbed the index option promotions because of again losses and all, and now it might curb these weekly options as well. ठीक है, so basically they are consulting with stock exchanges, brokers, investor bodies, and let's see what is going to be the news about. Right, only 3% make money in option trading. Exactly, only 3% of those who invest in options trading make money, and that is why they suffer a lot of losses. And that is why, to control the investors' interest, to control the losses of these investors, retail traders, SEBI is going to bring these kind of changes. Fine. Index options are basically when you are betting in an entire index, just not one particular, not only just one particular, you can say asset, but in an index of those assets, है ना, when you do it in an index. ठीक है. Okay, Sudarshan, that is what is index options. When the amount of better call or put when the amount of call or put option that you're doing is not only on one particular asset, but on on an index only. Okay, fine. Ankit says that's the reason SEBI is concerned regarding futures and options, to safeguard retail investors. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Next important news is related to your Companies Act. Can anyone tell me when was this Companies Act formed? When was the Companies Act formed? Anyone? When was the Companies Act formed? Who's going to tell me in the comment section? Here we have the news that wider scope under Companies Act notified for fast track mergers. So this Companies Act has brought in some rules and regulations related to these mergers so that we can fast track these mergers. What are these? We are going to see in the next few slides. Now, my question is, when was the Companies Act passed? Sorry, Competition Act. Sorry. Not the Companies Act, but Competition Act. So this is the Companies Act only. Sorry, yes, Companies Act 1956 2013. ठीक है, okay. And I got a little confused. Anyway, there is this new notification on 4th September 2025 which has been released. MC amended the Companies Act, compromises, arrangements, and amalgamation rules 2016. Why? To fast track mergers or demergers under the Companies Act 2013. ठीक है? Competition Act was 2002. Very good. Rahul Sudarshan Pawan. And Companies Act 1956, and the updated one is in 2013. है ना? So, absolutely correct. So, now what is this new notification? That we are going to fast track the mergers and demergers under the Companies Act 2013. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of merger and how is it different from acquisition or takeover? You might have heard about words like hostile takeover, है ना? Acquisition, merger. What is the difference between these terms? Can anyone tell me in the comment section? Because here the news is that we have to expand the fast track mergers and demergers under the Companies Act. The objective is basically so that corporate restructuring can happen in a faster manner, so that tribunal approvals and compliance delays are controlled, so that we can promote ease of doing business. And this was announced in Union Budget 25-26. Right? So Darshan says two firms join for a particular objective. Okay. Rahul is combining two firms by the approval of management. When two companies combine and form new single entity. If a firm takes over another completely, it is called acquisition. Exactly. See, consider two firms A and B. If A and B are coming together to form a company C, that is going to be considered as a merger because both have their proper role. Okay, nobody is trying to dominate anyone else. They are they are willingly coming together to form a third, a third company. है ना? That is what is called merger. When we say demerger, then this C is basically splitting into two, A and B. That is called demerger. When I talk about acquisition, when I use the word acquisition, in that case, this A plus B turns out to be A, or A plus B company turns out to be B, depending upon who is acquiring which company. If A is acquiring B, then A and B together are going to form A. If B is acquiring A, then A and B turn out to be B. When I say hostile takeover, it is like acquisition, but this is very aggressive. This is very aggressive when, say, A is taking over B, then it is, wiping out the entire management. When I say that A is, taking up a hostile takeover over B, and it is, uh, it is focusing on a hostile takeover of B, that means it is aggressively taking over B. Okay, and it might wipe out the entire management of B. And everything will be done by A, but the company has been taken up under my control. ठीक है? हीरो होंडा merger, ठीक है, ठीक है. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now, who is going to benefit from these rules? Now, what they are saying is, what is the news about? That we are going to fast track these kind of mergers and demergers so that everything can happen in a smooth and fast track manner, so that ease of doing business is also promoted. Right? So, who is going to benefit? The unlisted companies are going to benefit. Who other than Section 8 non-profits? Okay, you have to remember this. Who benefits? Unlisted companies. Groups undergoing internal reorganization are also going to benefit. Mergers between holding company and subsidiary, except when transferor is listed, subsidiaries of the same holding company, excluding listed firms, all these mergers are going to be included here. If I talk about the legal reference, then we have the Section 233 of the Companies Act 2013, which allows mergers between certain classes of companies with central government approval. Okay, if you talk about the earlier framework, then the fast track route earlier allowed only for small companies, startups, and wholly owned subsidiaries. So, fast track route was only for small companies, for the startups, so the wholly owned subsidiaries. Then in 2021, we brought in an amendment which extended to startups and small firms. Then 2024 may be opened up for reverse flipping. Reverse flipping means when foreign holding is there. When foreign holding companies they merge with Indian subsidiaries, that is what is called reverse flipping. So there were certain amendments which have been made, and now we're talking about fast track mergers for all kinds of unlisted companies and all. Fine. I hope this news is clear to all of you. Okay. Apart from that, we have some fact-based news. Let's take a look at that as well. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy may propose tax swaps on green bonds. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of green bonds? What are green bonds? Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of green bonds? You have heard the word gold bonds. You have heard the word sovereign gold bonds. If I use the word green bonds, what is the meaning of this? Because MNRE is saying that it may propose tax swaps on these green bonds. Okay, so what are green bonds? Can anyone tell me in the comment section? Because MNRE they may urge finance ministry to offer tax incentives. So when we use the word swaps, that means incentives or rebates on the green bond investments. ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे MNRE is saying कि is telling finance ministry, yeah, please offer incentives on these so that more and more people you know go move forward with green bond investment, because इसमें we are seeing a very low rise in these green bond investments. ठीक है? Bhakti says, issued for eco-friendly, fund raised for environmental conservation purpose. Very good, Rahul. Anurag says, bonds which are used for environmental sustainability. Yes, Anurag. Pavan says, issued for green infrastructure, that is environment friendly. Exactly. So, bond is a financial instrument through which money is raised, right? Through which money is raised. So, you sell those bonds, and in exchange, if you buy a particular bond, you are basically injecting money. For example, if I am a company and I am selling a bond, then I am raising money also, because people are going to buy that bond and give me some money, right? When I say green bond investments, that means the money which I am raising through this green bond, that money will be utilized for green infrastructure, for for environmental friendly infrastructure, for eco friendly infrastructure. I will be using that money, whatever money I'm going to raise from these green bonds. Okay. So MNRE is saying कि the finance ministry should offer tax incentives or tax rebates or tax swaps on these green bond investments, so that we can fast track this as well. Okay, so that we can boost investors' interest in green bonds, so that we can meet financing requirements for India's clean energy targets. That is the major reason, right? And if you talk about the current situation, then sovereign green bonds launched a few years ago, their uptake is quite slow. Acha, there is this word sovereign written. What is the meaning of sovereign green bonds here? What is the meaning of sovereign over here when I use the word sovereign green bond? What is the meaning over here? Because these sovereign green bonds they were launched a few years ago, but their uptake is slow. Okay, if we talk about the interest rates of green bonds, it is approximately same as the normal bonds, and that is why the investors they have very little incentive कि they should buy green bonds. ठीक है? ठीक है, and if tax rebates are provided, then this is going to make these green bonds very attractive. Hanji, so tell me in the comment section that what is the meaning of sovereign over here. When we use the word sovereign in front of these green bonds, what is the meaning? Green bonds are debt instruments issued by the government specifically to fund environmental purpose, right? Yes, Rahul, absolutely correct. So whenever we use the word sovereign, that means the government is providing you a guarantee that your money is safe. And these are the safest form of instruments. These are the safest form of instruments because they have a government backing. Right, Anurag. Okay. So green bonds are there. They are very popular climate finance tools. They are issued by public, private, or multilateral entities. They fund projects with positive environmental impact, renewable energy, energy efficiency, clean transport. And RBI issues these sovereign green bonds, and these are very, very important for the sustainability and meeting up with the climate goals of India. ठीक है? Apart from that, we have a news that retail inflation ticks up in August, comes back within the RBI's range. What is the RBI's range of inflation? What is the RBI's range of this inflation target? Or I would say, what is this? Have you heard about this flexible inflation target framework? What is the meaning of what is this flexible inflation target framework? Anyone? Yes, Bhakti, it is 4 plus minus 2%. So in 2016, we adopted a framework which is known as the flexible inflation target framework, where in inflation, we are not going to target just one percentage of inflation, ki 3% honi chahiye. No. We have decided a range within which our inflation should rely. ठीक है कि ठीक है, ideally it is 4%. It can be as low as 2% and as high as 6%. This is the permissible range. कि 2 to 6% में we have to maintain our inflation. ठीक है? So in 2006, so this was for every 5 years. This flexible inflation target framework we make for every 5 years. So in 2021, what did we decide? This was till in 2016. We decided till 2021 that it is going to be 4 plus minus 2. In 2021 we extended this ki for the next 5 years also it is going to be 4 plus minus 2% only. ठीक है? And now in 2026 this flexible inflation target will be expire, and now we have to bring in a new framework. Whether we are going to continue with it or whether we are going to change it will depend on RBI, and you have to keep a tap on that. What is the news about? Fine. Now now retail inflation, we saw that it reduced a lot. It was around 1.6% as far as I remember. So it reduced to very low, and that is why now this has increased a little bit in August, and now it is within the RBI's range. This is what is the news about. Retail inflation, it rose to 2.07% in August 2025. So 1.6%. That is what I was saying, 1.6%. Yeah, bilkul theek. So in July, it was as low as 1.6%, which was not within the range of RBI. है ना? But now we have seen कि वापस से it has come in this range in August due to higher prices of tomatoes. Now we were seeing that food prices fell a lot, and that is why inflation में we saw a reduction in the prices, है ना? So higher prices of tomatoes, 16.9% year on year rise. Eggs, meat, fish, we saw a rise in their prices. Weaker deflationary pull from other food items. So ज़्यादा deflation, deflation is basically a decrease in the price level, है ना? So we saw weaker deflationary pull from the other food items. ठीक है, फूड प्राइस डिफ्लेशन नैरो टू 0.69%. अब डिफ्लेशन नहीं हो रही. गोल्ड इन्फ्लेशन रिमेन्ड हाई एट 40.27%. प्रोटीन रिच फूड्स रोज 1.8%. वेजिटेबल डिफ्लेशन स्लो टू -2.6%. edible oil and fats saw steepest price rise 21.2% in August. ठीक है, so which saw the steepest price rise? Edible oils and fats. Inflation is still within this 2 to 6 target range, and economists, they expect inflation to moderate further. ठीक है? फिर आ जाती है नेक्स्ट न्यूज रिलेटेड टू दिस 680 million dollar package to support Mauritius security. So PM Narendra Modi ji and Mauritius Navin Chandra Ramgulam, they have pledged to work together for maritime security. So India, it unveiled $680 million economic assistance package for Mauritius. ठीक है? Budgetary support of $25 million. Objective is to boost maritime security so that they can be free, open, stable Indian Ocean region. Okay, that is the reason why they are going through this. Okay, and then they talked about some historical ties also, about Girmityas, the indentured laborers who from Bihar and UP who used to go to Mauritius in the 19th century. Okay, Mauritius exclusive economic zone is also expanded after the agreement with the UK on Chagos Islands. So that is why we are also trying to focus on the maritime security, and that is why we have uh, you know unveiled this assistance package for Mauritius. And this package is going to strengthen infrastructure, maritime surveillance capacity, new employment opportunities in Mauritius. ठीक है. Modi emphasized this is an investment in shared future because and this is part of India's neighborhood first policy. ठीक है, so that we can have a more free Indian Ocean, open, secure and prosperous Indian Ocean region. ठीक है. Then another news is related to IMF to revamp units on climate and inclusion. ठीक है. So IMF is planning to revamp its organizational structure. It is planning, है ना अभी. So finally when the changes are going to be there, then that is going to be very very important from your exam point of view. ठीक है, because international organizations is a part of your examination, है ना. So, IMF plans to revamp its organizational structure. Divisions dealing with climate change and gender policies will be merged. So, the division of climate change and gender policies, they might merge this. ठीक है, and then there is going to be a new arm called macro financial and structural policies division. There is going to be a new arm. ठीक है. ठीक है, so it might be completed this revamp might be completed with these IMF World Bank meetings in mid October. So let's see, by mid October you will have the news, and that is going to then be important from your exam point of view. Okay. Okay, so under Trump administration, IMF's focus on climate and gender was criticized. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said IMF spends disproportionate resources on these issues instead of its core role as an economic stabilizer. This was a statement made. ठीक है, and that is why and the US is the largest shareholder of the IMF, and that is why they are trying to merge these gender policies and climate change so that the money can at once only in one division only that can be given, है ना, not extra. Then there's another news related to RBI that RBI plans to give lenders key power to recover small loans. ठीक है. Now what is the RBI planning? RBI is planning to allow lenders like Bajaj Finance, DMI Finance to remotely lock mobile phones if people don't pay back the small loans taken to buy those phones. What does this lock mobile phones mean? What does this locking mobile phones mean? What happens is when you buy say a phone on EMIs, है ना, EMI पे you are buying a phone. What is this company going to do? What are these lenders going to do? They're going to install an application in this mobile कि if this person does not pay the EMI on time, तो इस app के through these companies they are going to block the phone and the person will not be able to use it. This is going to ensure that those who are trying to buy mobile phones or electronics or these kind of things on EMIs or or from small loans, they should be paying back that money and not SAE going away. So that is why an app is kind of installed in the mobile phones कि if they do not pay back then खत्म ही कर दो, lock it. ठीक है. This is so that bad loans can be reduced, NPAs can be reduced so that people do not default on the loans, है ना. And if you see in India, one third of the electronics like phones, they are brought on small loans. People are buying phones on EMIs. Okay? And many people default on such loans. And especially if those loans are under 1 lakh. And NBFCs, they give 85% of consumer durable loans. So they face the most risk. So most of the risk is with whom? With the NBFCs. ठीक है. So earlier some lenders they were already locking borrowers phones using special apps. ठीक है, पहले the lenders were doing so, but RBI told them to stop last year. So last year RBI said कि please stop it, you cannot lock the borrowers phones because of consumer right concerns. And now RBI is again saying that they are going to allow this phone locking, but you have to set certain clear rules. ठीक है, you don't have to be arbitrary also. ठीक है, so borrower's consent must be taken in advance. So you have to take the consent of the borrower. You have to inform them them कि you're not paying the EMI and we are going to lock your phone. Lenders cannot access the personal data. So the lenders, if they are locking the phone, they should not access the personal data. And rules will be added to the Fair Practices Code, very very soon. These rules, okay? And if implemented, the benefit is that the lenders will recover the loans more easily, and people with poor credit they might get loans more easily since lenders will feel more secure. Okay? Now they will feel more secure. So, locking phones, it means the same that there's going to be a special app on your phone that if you don't pay the EMI on time, then they are going to remotely lock your phone. ठीक है. But the lender cannot see your data, any photos, WhatsApp messages. They can only disable the phone's use. So this is kind of safe only. ठीक है. So this was the news about. Then we have a news related to India ramps up gold reserve build up. So India is increasing its gold share in forex reserves. So if you talk about India's gold share in forex, it is 13.1% in June 2025, up from 9.6%. So RBI is the third largest gold buyer in 2024 with 72.6 tons behind Poland and Turkey. Total Indian goods reserves kitne hain? 93 tons as of June 2025. And what are the drivers? Because of these global geopolitical tensions, US sanctions, dollar diversification, that is why we are increasing our gold reserves, because gold is the safest asset, and that is why we are trying to accumulate it. Plus, gold ke prices also surged 40%, so it is benefit. It is the most beneficial form of investment. China brought 352 tons since November 2022, which is the biggest buyer. India is the third largest gold buyer. ठीक है, so these were the important articles from the newspaper. I hope these are clear to all of you. ठीक है, if you guys want to connect with me beyond these sessions, then Mannat Educator is my Telegram handle. If anybody is new here, you can connect with me on Telegram. ठीक है, just type Mannat Educator. ठीक है जी. Now let's do a few MCQs. I want all of you to give me the answers. Write one and then answer, two and then answer. Okay, let's see whether you guys have understood or not and how much can you guys recall. Okay, chalo. First question. Which ministry is considering proposing tax incentives for green bond buyers in India? Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, or Niti Aayog? What is the answer to the first question? Quickly give me the answer, all of you. I want all of you giving me the answer. Bhakti, Rahul, and Sudarshan have given me the answer. What about others? Anurag has also given me the answer. ठीक है. So C is the correct answer. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Absolutely correct. ठीक है. Second question. Which institution issues sovereign green bonds in India? SEBI, RBI, Ministry of Finance, or NABARD? Which institution issues sovereign green bonds in India? Is it SEBI, RBI, Ministry of Finance, NABARD? Absolutely correct. It is RBI. ठीक है. Under the revised Companies Act Framework 2025, which category of companies can now undertake fast track mergers? Listed companies, Section 8 companies, two or more unlisted companies meeting prescribed thresholds, or public sector undertakings? Third question, what is the answer? What is the answer for question number 3? Ankit and Rag are saying B. Acha, sorry, Anurag is saying B. Sudarshan is saying B. Pavan and Ankit are saying C. The correct answer is C. Two or more unlisted companies meeting prescribed thresholds, not the Section 8 companies. ठीक है? Not the Section 8 companies. Ha, Bhakti right. C is the correct answer. Let's move on to the fourth question. Why is SEBI considering discontinuing weekly options contracts? To boost foreign institutional investment inflows, to reduce high retail investor losses in FNO trading, to promote commodity derivatives, to increase government revenue from securities transaction tax. FNO means futures and options. Futures and options. What is the answer? Absolutely correct. To reduce high retail investor losses in FNO or futures and options trading, right? Fifth question. Under the revised policy consideration, which electric vehicles are eligible for import relaxation under the PME drive scheme? Electric trucks and buses, only electric cars, two wheelers and three wheelers, all categories of electric vehicles. Which electric vehicles are eligible for import relaxation? Fifth question. Absolutely correct. Electric trucks and buses. Sixth question पे चलते हैं. Recently, India adopted a wait and watch approach towards its trade with Nepal. Acha, this is from your previous. Leave this question. Huh. What was SEBI's main argument before the Bombay High Court in Kirloskar case? Sixth question. Promoters' privacy must be protected over shareholder rights. Shareholders' right to information outweighs promoters' claims of privacy. Listed companies are not required to disclose any private agreements. Family settlements are exempt from disclosure requirements. What is the answer? SEBI's main argument before Bombay High Court in Kirloskar case. Absolutely correct. Shareholders' right to information outweighs promoters' claims of privacy. ठीक है? Seventh question. Which of the following is not a part of SEBI's 2025 capital market reforms? Extension of timeline for companies to achieve 25% minimum public shareholding, allowing mutual funds to invest in REITs and InvITs, reducing the minimum issue size for companies with 150,000 crore market cap to 100 crore, relaxation of registration and qualification norms for research analysts, which is not a part of SEBI's capital market reforms. What is the answer for seventh question? He and Pavan have given me the answer. What about others? C is absolutely the correct answer. Yes, Sudarshan, ठीक है? Because they have extended the timeline up to 5 years, है ना? For to achieve 25% minimum public shareholding. अच्छा, mutual funds are also allowed to invest in REITs and in which we saw that this is also correct. Relaxation of registration and qualification norms for research analysts. This is also absolutely correct, है ना? This is not correct. ठीक है? चलिए. Eighth question. Which country was the third largest gold buyer in 2024, purchasing 72.6 tons of gold? China, Poland, Turkey, or India? Again, very easy question. Third largest gold buyer in 2024, purchasing 72.6 tons of gold. Eighth question. Absolutely correct. It is India. Right? Chaliye. What new power is RBI planning to give lenders for recovering small ticket loans? Seize borrowers' bank account directly, restrict borrowers' access to UPI apps, remotely lock mobile phones brought on credit, increase interest rates automatically on default. What is the answer? Yes, lock mobile phones bought on credit. ठीक है? Uh, 10th question. Which new division will be created after IMF merges its Climate and Development Policies Division and Inclusion and Gender Unit? Global Social and Development Unit, Macro Financial and Structural Policies Division, Economic Stabilization and Inclusion Division, Sustainable Growth and Equality Division. What is the answer for the 10th question? Right. Macro Financial and Structural Policies Divisions. ठीक है? India recently announced a $680 million economic assistance package to Mauritius. What is the primary focus of this package? Agricultural development, education and cultural exchange, tourism promotion, or maritime security and surveillance? 11th question. Yes, maritime security and surveillance. In August 2025, India's retail inflation rose to 2.07%, mainly due to fall in crude oil prices, rise in gold imports, increase in prices of tomatoes, eggs, meat, and fish, strong deflationary pull from vegetables. What is the answer? Right. Increase in price of tomatoes, eggs, meat, and fish. Okay, so that is all from my side, everyone. This is what I wanted to discuss with you. If you guys want to connect with me beyond these sessions, this is my Telegram handle. you can connect with me on Telegram. You can scan this QR code, or you can just type Mannat Educator, and you will have access to my account. Apart from that, if you are preparing for this RBI Grade B examination and you want to avail the course, you can enroll now in this course. You will have classes available, magazines, books, mock tests, everything will be available. And right now there is a 60% offer going on, which is going to end today. You can use the code JEET to buy this all in one regulatory exam subscription. Okay? Fine. So you can avail this. This code is going to expire today. So if you want, you can avail that. And that is all from my side. This is my Telegram handle. You guys can follow me over here, connect with me over here. We do daily MCQs and all as well over here, right? And thank you so much. That is all from my side. You're welcome, Bhakti, Anurag, Sudarshan, Pavan. That is all from my side. If there's any doubt you want to ask, you can ask me. Otherwise, we are going to end the session over here, and I will see you all in my next one. Till then, I wish you all the best. Keep studying. You have a very few days left for your examination. I want you guys to prepare well, stay updated with the news, and keep revising your static portion as well. Okay? Wishing you best of luck for your examination, and I will keep coming up with such sessions which are going to really be beneficial for you. Okay? Thank you and have a good day. I will see you all in my next one. Bye.